Just closer.
Hi.
Yep. That's good.
Okay, so normally I would just type up a page or two of what I want to say, and I just read it, but I'm not doing that now. So, I don't know, I mean, I have 154 items on my list to do as governor, and quite frankly, the two biggest ones are property taxes and probable cause. I think the police departments all across the state are probably needing, like, you know, a huge amount of money. But when probable cause is modified just a tiny bit, the police departments will go from 2,000 employees down to like 50. So that's one of the things that.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. So, Jim, your opening statement. Yes, sure, if you want to.
Hello, I'm privileged to be here. I appreciate very much that this was offered to me. I'm a retired Orlando firefighter. I've worked there almost 30 years. I'm a retired ESC school teacher. I did that for 8 years, and I've been a home builder all my life. When I was 15, or 14, my dad put me out in the yard making trusses for a building. I really like building things. I graduated from the University of Central Florida with a BA in political science, and I graduated with a master's at National Louis for education.
Okay, that's it.
That's I've said plenty.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now Daniel, your opening statement, please.
I don't know why I have my glasses on. I guess I just do that because I'm not going to read anything. But in my mission for Florida is to return Florida back to the people and the people back to God. And you know what? Our country is at a crisis moment right now. And if we, the people, who are the first branch of government, by the way, we're not the second. We are the first branch of government, we the people. If we don't turn back to God, you see, there's been a tradition in our country that someone calls the nation back to God when they're wayward. Our country is wayward, and so are the people. And so we need to come back to God. I have 30 initiatives I would like to do, but you know, it's all mute if we don't return to God. We might get everything we want, but if we don't get God, we've lost everything. And that's what I've got to say to start up.
Okay. So Rachel, your turn.
Good afternoon. My name is Rachel Rodriguez. I'm coming up from West Palm Beach. I'm here with my husband. I'm here because I've been serving the people of Florida as a litigator. I've been a litigator for 20 years, so don't hold that against me now that I'm also trying to be a politician. But what I noticed in the last few years is that the courts have failed their moral duty to the people to protect our individual rights. And so how can I continue to serve people if that's my profession and I can't get them to do what they're supposed to do before God? So I prayed about it after I was asked to run. And that's why I'm here, because the Lord said, you're not done yet. So this is the way I feel that I can continue to serve all of you. I want to reclaim parental rights.
Amen.
I want to restore medical freedom, all liberties, in fact. I want to reform the courts. I know a lot about that. I want to relieve working families on the affordability issue. And we need to reserve our land. God gave it to us, and we need to be stewards.
Yeah, James.
think you should know who I am. Give you a quick biography. I don't drink. Jim Shaw, James W. Shaw, running for governor. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, I'm not on any antidepressants. Why should you know that? Because you need somebody with a straight, sound mind running the place. So I'm telling you that. I've been married for 44 years. My wife and I have 8 children, 28 grandchildren, a full house. Okay, so I have a lot of skin in the game. I was a manager. I managed 550 Teamsters, Local 430 up in Harrisburg, a tough bunch of guys. I know how to manage. I want to protect this. Wish I had more than a minute. God bless you.
In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I greet everyone. My name is Caneste Succe, and future the next governor of Florida. And I'm here to represent Florida, and I'm here to represent everyone that who have been devastated about the cost of living, and also people that who have been struggled. I think that we can help them bring back and also take care of their family, because right now Florida is in trouble right now. We have a deep trouble because everything's at a higher cost, and the gas price, apartments, and people, it's hard to survive this day. And I'm trying to bring everybody to have a better place, because Florida is a great paradise island, and I want to make Florida become a paradise for everyone. Thank you.
So, Bobby.
Awesome. We are one nation under what? We have to get God back in government, God back in schools, or will not change. For too long, we voted against the least of two evils. We got to get true godly character in this nation, because it's no longer we the people right now. It's we the lobbyists and we the big corporations. And we got to have somebody who's going to fight for Florida, fight for you and me, to have a voice for you. I've done that for the last 10 years. I run a ministry called the Freedom for Food Disaster Relief. I put over 100 million pounds, 350 million gifted pounds into our economy for free during hurricanes and COVID. During COVID, I didn't shut down, I didn't mask, I didn't social distance. A lot of these smart guys talk about, we're going to fight for our country, fight for our state, but where was you at during the greatest fight that our nation's put on us was COVID? So God bless y'all. Bobby Williams, Florida Governor.
Okay. We're going to talk about data centers. Many people are worried about these. It's worried about strain on power grids, increasing noise, land values, and privacy issues, of course. So I'm going to start right now. I'll start with Arthur. What is your position on data centers?
AI?
Yeah, AI.
No, I don't like AI. I mean, maybe somewhere in the future it might get perfect, who knows. But right now, I even did a Google search on after the primary election, would at least all of the candidates still go on to the general ballot? And it didn't tell me anything. So AI didn't really work. If it gets perfect someday, great. But right now, I don't think AI is pretty good.
Jim, what's your position on data centers?
I know we might need AI, but we're not going to have any in Florida, that's for sure.
Well, you wait. Oh, no, sorry.
Oh,
Oh, James, no, I told Jim Holcomb here. Sorry, Jim, that's all right.
got me excited.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Good stuff.
If that's our worst mistake, it'll be a good day. Okay. When I went to one of these campaign rallies, a young lady about 30 brought to my attention the issue of AI. She said it's very expensive and that the people in Pensacola don't want to pay for it. I would agree with that, to what I know, and I think that the people who want AI should pay for the expansion of the electrical system. That would be the military, and that would be, say, maybe some cities, a lot of the electric companies are privately owned. And if they have the wherewithal to do an AI expansion and it's not at the expense of the citizens, I think that would be reasonable.
Okay, Daniel, what's your position on AI? What's your position on data centers?
Well, it depends on what the data center is. If it's an AI, and what we're getting and what they're not telling us is that, first of all the resources it takes, number one. I believe in decentralizing FPL, meaning we need to have an antitrust suit against them for they're the only game in town, and we should each have a PPP, personal power plants in our own home. Okay, so besides that, okay, AI centers are going to be used for flock camera, something they're not telling us. Another thing they're going to be used for is digital currency, programmable money, okay? And the other thing is 15-minute cities. If you don't know what 15-minute cities are, that is what China has. And they need these AI centers so that they can keep us under control. So am I for it or against it? Totally, absolutely against it.
The position is clear. Okay, Rachel, what's your position on data centers?
Well, first, I think that the rush to build them, and even more of them in Florida, I believe we already have 7, smells, looks, and waddles and quacks like the 1800s gold rush. I think we need to slow it down and say, if you're just trying to make a quick buck as a developer or big business, we really need to understand whether these buildings are going to be used for any usable purpose in another year or 2 or 3. That's a serious issue. I'm also against these centers being used for the surveillance state. I think that we can keep up with the world on technology by decentralizing AI development. And additionally, I think that we need to stop the government from using eminent domain to take over property from the residents in order to build these. These are just a few issues and doesn't even get into the legal issues of AI, which is who is liable when somebody gets harmed.
Good. Okay, James, Tuna.
First off, we could talk to her blue in the face about keeping the data centers away. We're probably all in agreement. We don't want them. I actually went to the county commissioner meeting. On a local level, you got to fight this. You got to fight. You got to know your facts. You got to go down. You got to get your briefcase. You got to stand in front of people. You got to have some courage. And you're going to say, my community is not going to have these data centers. That's what you have to do. We can talk all we want as politicians, but it's us as people that have to go to our local meetings and fight them. What do? They destroy the economy. The Microsoft chairman said they're going to take 175,000 white-collar jobs within the next year away. I could go on the economy, the environment, and surveillance. No data centers.
Yes, I'm not agree with AI, but I have my daughter. She's a pediatric surgeon from Duke University, and she was working as helping the people at the clinic, where she's usually with the chip right here on people's neck. Where everywhere you go, what it is, the company will put it on chip. Wherever you go, they're watching you, they're monitoring you. And I told her, hey, the job like that, don't take it. I don't want you that kind of job like because I don't like it. I know AIs probably belong to the government for the high level, but it's not for really for the little kids who is in high school who don't really understand about AI. AI is a very high profile level and also is not good for the economy, like Mr. James said. So we need, as we have to go to the century, and we don't want to go behind. We don't want to be too behind the China, because China, is always ahead of us on everything. They create everything. They want to create all the bad things for America, and America is the one.
You're going over your time, sorry. just wind it up. You're going over your time.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bobby.
I'm against AI data centers. Florida is full is my message across the state. We're tired of AI data centers. We're tired of developers destroying Florida. We don't have the water. We don't have the infrastructure. I hate these people keep saying we're behind in China. China's already taken over our country. Everything we buy is from China. Our food's coming from China. Our network's from China. Everything, IT switches from China. They want to put AI data centers here because it's all about China. So we got to say enough is enough. It's not America first, it's America only. So we got to say enough. If they truly want data centers in America, put them in Detroit, Michigan. It's a perfect place for them. But for me, Florida's full.
So, do you want a rebuttal? Do you?
It's not a rebuttal, I just want to explain that back in the 70s when I was growing up, all the plastic toys and stuff or whatever in the stores, well, they weren't from China. And it needs to go back to that.
Yeah. And do you want to say something, Jim?
It's my understanding that our federal government has made some agreements with the state of Florida. Assuming we're not going to be able to stop it, maybe we can get some free electricity out of it.
Okay. Okay, the next question.
Can I say something?
Oh, yes, sure.
It'll be quick.
Yep.
If you read Revelation, all this is about the control, the mark, everything. And so, again, this was prophesied that it was going to happen. And all we can do is we can join together and we can return to God and let God delay that.
Thank you. Okay. Next question. I'm going to start with Rachel on this, then work this way, then back this way. Okay. So, Rachel, with the passage of the Live Local Act in 2023, which stripped local communities of oversight and handed developers an almost absolute legal right to build, what would you do as governor to protect our communities from being overrun by super AI data centers?
Well, there's a lot in the Live Local Act that I think we need to deal with, and this gets into the property taxes question. Why is it that the Live Local Act already gave all the property rebates and deductions to the developers, but didn't at the same time give that to the residents? This is what is the problem with our legislation, and this is the issue with the AI data centers. We already have legislation to hold them accountable to pay their expenses. What we have to do is stop playing Jenga with legislation where we pull one thing out and try to fix it here, pull this other thing out, and the entirety of our system is wobbling. We need to be very clear. If we're going to talk about property tax abatement, that has to be for everyone across the board, not pitting developers against the residents, which is at issue in any of these issues, property taxes, AI, etc. The residents are not against the developers and economic development. We need to work together.
Okay, so Daniel, what would you do to protect the people of Florida from AI-centered development, or overdevelopment, or misdevelopment?
Again, excuse me. Again, AI development, I am totally against what they're trying to do. They are not being open and honest about it. So all these tax breaks, first of all, I think tax and millage tax breaks should be going for everybody. But as far as the data centers and them getting extra privileges, first of all, I want to do moratoriums, and that's the only way that we can stop. That's the only way we can stop AI centers is through moratorium. And if we, the people, get together and we raise our voice as one, it will happen, and only through there. And I will be there to sign the bill to say yes to anything that comes through that is against AI. I used to design computers. I did basic language. I studied electricity, electronics, and so that's part of what I used to do. Got bored with it.
Okay, Jim, so what would you do to protect the people of Florida from AI data centers?
Well, first off, I'm for the people more so than the developers, the builders, and the government. My easiest solution would be to veto all the money.
So Arthur, what would you do as governor to protect people from the data centers, the negative consequences of such institutions?
They take the money away. They veto the budget that they're going to do this with.
Yeah, so, okay, Arthur.
Okay, when you first mentioned it, I thought you said housing development? No?
No, I don't think so. No, I'm talking about AI data centers. There's a lot of concern about negative impacts. What would you do as Florida governor to fix or ameliorate those negative consequences?
Well, for 30 years, I've owned a computer support company. I'm not doing it anymore, but I still own it. And so I went into these data centers where there's, 6-foot tall cabinets with 20 servers in there. And anyway, I mean, I just don't think AI is effective. What else can I say?
Okay. Well, Bobby, what would you do as governor to protect people of Florida from the negative impacts of data centers?
First thing I would do is put a moratorium on data centers. Second thing I would do is stop rezoning. Either getting away with destroying Florida, data centers, any industry, they're rezoning. Okay, Florida's full. We can't keep going. We don't have the water. We don't have the infrastructure. They're taking our sanitation water as we speak right now and dumping our waters. Our rivers are polluted. We're losing our fishery. We're losing our tourism because we're allowing this. The reason why we got back to we the people, somebody in government is going to have a voice and an answer for this. Because, it's going to keep destroying us. But no, it's simple, easy. Stop rezoning, moratorium, and I want to get back any kind of rezoning, anything. We got to get it out of county commissioners, out of city commissioners, talking about the Live Local Act. We got to get back to we the people have to vote on it, or we the people have the voice.
We kind of have time. So, Caneste.
As the AI development, I think we, like Mr. Bobby said, we have to go to county commissioner and city commission to fight for the people because we are there to fight for the people. And whatever AI is very strong all over the country. And as we have to know exactly who gave them the ability, who give them the chance, and who give them the authority to do exactly what they have to do, and who give them the authorization in this country to do this, what they're doing. If it is a government or the private company, I think AI is, I know is a future for our kids and for the country. But the thing is, we need to be concerned because if you're not educated about AI and on certain level and do not authorize or do not allow kids to get involved, and also the government, because about the development also, when because they have a big money, they're always gonna give a company big money to do whatever they want to do, and we need to stop it.
So James, what would you do to protect the people of Florida from the negative
Well,
consequences?
sure, you're using the word protect. I think that has to be the main word. You need a governor that's going to protect you and stand up for you. You're going to need a governor with guts, because this AI is billions and billions and billions, probably trillions of dollars that you're going to fight against. But we the people can fight against it. But I said locally. I belong to the local planning board where I'm at. I know everything that's going on. I know, even though I'm running for governor, I'm involved in my local meetings every month. So I know exactly what's going on, what's trying to creep in, who's trying to grease anybody's pocket. I know what's going on. You need a governor that's going to protect you and face the issues. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is to do with election integrity, a burning issue for all of us. I'm going to start here with Daniel and then work round again. So Daniel, do you believe the 2020 election was stolen? If so, do you believe our weaknesses are, if so, where do you believe our weaknesses are, and what would you do as governor to fix them?
Well, I've been advocating for paper ballots. One day, I like what Chris Gleason had to say, and we need to get back to that. You can't fudge those results. Also, having identity. You have to have an ID. I was asked this question on a voter guide by some group. Anyways, they said, do you believe that we should restrict voting by having ID? I said, well, if we were all pure as the driven snow, I'd say we could go ahead and not use ID. But most everybody that wants to not use their ID would cheat and would lie. And so you have to have that ID also, paper ballots, one day.
Okay. Joe, what would you do to, do you believe the election was stolen, and what would you do to fix our problems if so?
Okay, I think we should start with voter rolls, that they should be checked at least, probably purged every 2 years. I would make no more than 4 days for voting. That would be the weekend prior to the Tuesday. And mail-in votes would have to be postmarked prior to the election day. If they come in after the election day, they don't count either. They have to be at the election office by 7 o'clock or whatever closing time is on election day. I would make election day at least a state holiday. I can't make it a national holiday, but I would do my best to make sure that everybody had the day off to vote, whether they wanted to vote or not. And then I would say that the address for the mail-in ballots had to be a real residence, not a business, not a post office, and not a building with 500 immigrants.
Arthur, do you believe the 2020 election was stolen? If you have concerns about voter integrity, what would you do as governor to fix them?
I do believe that it was stolen. But, you know, like everyone's saying, paper ballots with a driver's license or whatever. There's also an opportunity of doing it online, but you need like a webcam to just have it look at your eye, just to make sure. I don't know. Are we still doing paper ballots this year? Well, we'll probably do that this year.
Okay, Bobby, what do you believe the 2020 election was stolen, and how would you address any shortcomings in our system?
Yes, 2020 election was stolen. You fix it quick and easy. Voter fraud, treason on our country. 20 years to death penalty. 20 years minimum death penalty max. That'll fix all your waste, fraud, corruption, and abuse. That quick, that simple. Number two, the voter holidays. Voter holidays. 1 day only. You walk in, paper ballots, walk in only, and it solves almost every one of your problems.
Yes, thank you so much. That's a good question. I used to work for supervisor election for 8 years, and I used to do outreach for the Palm Beach County, and I participate on all the events. As an outreach, I go to all these 11 high school and 7 university, and I also participate in the election system. What we used to do is what I agree right now is the technology, but during the 2004, 2008, we have to, when we had a glitch in the computer when we had the problems with the election, because the chip needs to be clean, and that's so they need to change the computer. The computer system is a whole computer, and if you have a computer system, it's old and they need to be changed, and no one changed the equipment. You know that it's going to have a problem during election time. And I work there and I supervise there. I know exactly what's going on. And also, elections should be people walking and walk, not ballot, because there is a lot of corruption in ballot. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. James, do you believe the election was stolen, and what would you do to fix any problems?
Well, first let me say Stalin, who ran Russia during the World War II, who actually took the guns away and then proceeded to kill about 60 million of his own people. His viewpoint was, it doesn't matter who votes. What matters is who counts them, all right? And I don't want a machine counting any vote, all right? The risk and reward is, I'll go with people. We'll just try to cut the corruption down because that's always there. As far as being stolen, I remember it was like yesterday. There was 5 states involved. I went to bed at 8. Well, I was watching. The election was over at 8 o'clock. Pennsylvania was up by about 400,000, an important swing state, or maybe it was 700,000. It took about 2 days before you knew it. Pennsylvania kept going down. The next 48 hours, the next 72 hours, and all of a sudden, Biden won Pennsylvania. And this went for about 4 states. It was ridiculous.
Rachel, do you believe the election was stolen, and what would you do to address any shortcomings in the system?
Well, absolutely, it was stolen. Excuse me. And now we have all the evidence to show that in the public, declassified. Thank you, President Trump. Now, many people knew that, and they suffered for it. So one thing you didn't ask in the question is, what do we do to compensate those who were politically detained in the United States of America? We need accountability for those who did it, and we need them to be vindicated financially for that. In Florida, I agree that we need to have one-day holiday. But we also cannot avoid the absentee ballot, which is not the mail-in ballot. These have very limited bases, especially for our military and others. So we need to have that. No foreign money in our elections. Chris Gleason has done an excellent job of outlining that, and we need to take those into consideration. There are thousands of non-citizens actually voting in Florida. We need to prosecute that to the full extent of the law. And we should not stop counting on election day until we're done. No stopping and restarting on another day.
Okay.
One comment.
Yeah.
I do believe that the election was stolen all across the country.
Okay. Now the next question I'm going to start with Jim and move back round to finish there. Okay. This is related. Do you believe the voting machine should be shut down and replaced with hand ballots? Why or why not? Many of you have already addressed this, but just re-emphasize it.
This is a question about voting machines?
Do you believe the voting machine should no longer be used and hand counted ballots only used? Yes or no?
I think that there should be no computer at all, anywhere, involved with our voting.
What about you, Arthur? Do you believe machines are okay, or they should not be used any longer?
The machines are the computers.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, Arthur will say his piece.
Yeah, I can tell you that using computers to file your votes, that can work, but it just needs to be secure. And there's plenty of ways to secure it, but someone isn't doing it properly. It can be done. It can be done on a computer, but I also prefer paper.
So, Bobby, what do you think? Do you think we should continue? I think you've already addressed this, but you
No
can
computers,
reemphasize
handouts.
it. That's straightforward. Caneste.
Yeah, I think voting system it's very complicated in the state of Florida because we have so much corruption. Because if you go to my website and you see me 2012, I was fighting against what happened in at the supervisor election. Yes, I think paper ballot and the machine is not. I'm not agree with it. No.
Okay. James?
You know, the thing about it is it can't be taken lightly because our election process, that's the foundation of everything. Think about it. Everything we deal with, everything we protest is supposed to be elected and decided upon. Right. Politics come from policies, policies come from beliefs, and beliefs come from faith. And it does boil down to, I hear the word Christian a lot. I am a Christian. If there's no integrity, if it's all corrupted, then the whole thing's a mess. We got to find good, strong, Christian-believing people to run this country.
So, Rachel, what's your position on voting machines?
No, they're not working. If they did, and we could see, we could measure that the corruption was not changing the election, okay, but that's not what was happening. There's the black box problem where you can't see in the machines. Right. They're connected to the internet, and they lie about that too. So whereas human beings can also lie, in my profession there's a lot of them, nonetheless we can hold them accountable. You can't hold a machine accountable, and that's what we need to do.
No computers, paper ballots only. I've already answered that. So.
Fair enough, thank you. Now this is to do with Islam, which is becoming quite a big issue in this state. Now we're going to start here with Arthur. Do you believe our national security is at risk due to radical groups promoting Islamization and or communism? Please explain.
Well, my first wife was from Turkey. I lived in Turkey for 2 years, and that's an Islam country. And all the people were great, but when they're in this country and they want to kind of change things or force things, that's not good. So, I don't know, I mean, if they're just a resident living in a neighborhood and they're peaceful and kind, fine. But if someone makes a group and they want to start tearing apart towns and stuff, or what the people want to believe in, then we need to get rid of it.
So, Bobby, do you believe our national security is at risk because of the growth of Islam in this country and communism? If so, please explain.
Yeah, 100%. We see it across the nation, across the country. That's the reason why we got to get back and stand on our principles, one nation under God. You know, we are a biblical nation. We are a Christian nation. We have a Word of God as our foundation, and we can't allow people to come here. They got to simulate to us what we believe in. There's a reason why we are the greatest nation in the world. It's not because of Muslims and your way of thinking. It's because we are one nation under God, a biblical Christian, Jesus Christ, Paul. We're not going to waver from that till we get strong men and women. The reason why Matthew 7:16 is my scripture. You'll know them by their fruit. A lot of people say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, but as soon as they go out the church door, they're a whole different person. And that's the reason why we got to have leaders that lead on true Christianity and true beliefs and not willing to sway and not willing to maneuver. And a perfect example was during COVID. How many churches shut down? How many leaders masked up? How many people bowed down because of fear? And we do that. Muslims are going to do the same thing. We have strong Christian faith.
The next day.
Yes, I do believe the country found by God, Jesus Christ. And we need to stay with Jesus Christ and and stay with God. And because the country is the best country around the world, and that's the number one in the world. So we need to follow Jesus Christ in the name of Christ. Thank you.
Yeah, James, do you believe there is a security threat due to Islamization?
Yes, go ask Europe. Ask Europe. In the year 2000, some say there was only 50,000 Muslims in Europe. It's up to 46 million. All right, in England, they've been voted in as far as the top largest cities in England. Okay, the Muslims are taking over, but it's because of us. And somebody shouted it out at the last meeting. The rate of us, everybody in this room, maybe 2 children per family. All right? Who's coming over 8 per family? How are you going to win in a democratic society? If it was my dream, all right, you could become citizens, you can't vote for 4 generations. You could become a citizen, enjoy the country, you can't vote. All right? That's would be my dream as far as that goes. Okay, because we've been weaponized. They've been weaponized to destroy us, and all I'm looking at is a track record in Europe.
Rachel, are you concerned about, is there a security risk as far as you're concerned from Islamization or communism?
I had to stand up to stretch. Yes, I think that the issue is that Islam is not merely a religion, it is a whole political system, legal system, and judicial system, which is not compatible with our federal or our state constitution. Our state constitution doesn't grant. It says that we have already inherently religious freedom, which we do. But it specifically says in our Constitution that religious activity, religious expression cannot override public morals, peace, or safety. And so any belief or action that is going to do that, we need to look at that carefully and we need to deal with that under the law.
So Daniel, what's your take on this?
I grew up in Flint, Michigan, near Detroit. Okay, so we dealt with that down there. And then my son had a fall in 2023 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he fell 8 feet, cracked his skull, and we were right in the middle of Somalia. Okay, and what they do there is they spread everything out. But this is the problem. The Constitution tells us that we need to, anyone who aids and abets the enemy is treasonous. Our court systems are aiding and abetting the enemy. They need to be locked up. Sorry. They need to be locked up. And we need to go after our judges who are saying, no, they can stay and they can do. When I was given a question, why should we, the Muslim Democratic Federation, endorse you? I said, because I can lead you back to the God that you are alienated from, who is Jesus Christ. That was my answer.
Okay. So, Jim, are you concerned about Islamization or communism in this country? Well, are you concerned, do you believe there's a security risk in this country from the increased Islamization of some parts of the country and or their communist allies?
Well, there's certainly a lot of people that are pushing the communist agenda. I think they want to rob our country and destroy the Constitution. As far as Islam, there's Florida Constitution, Article 4, Section 1, Section B. The governor is supposed to enforce compliance with any duty or restrain any unauthorized act. I think the Islam Sharia law is definitely an unauthorized act, and I think that our Constitution, Article 5, Section 1, the judicial power shall be vested in the Supreme Court, the District Court, the Appeal Court, the Circuit Court, and the County Court. And the only other addition to those is the traffic court.
So, go back to Bobby this time, starting. There's a related question. Now, there are a lot of mosques in this country. We know from people like the Rare Foundation and others that many of these mosques are tied to terrorism. Many of them are very politically active in the community. As governor, what would you do about the growing number of mosques in our communities, if anything? Or what could you do if you wanted to do something?
Well, the difference you said is could. I'm not going to tell you something I don't know that I can do as a governor. But obviously we would fight against mosques. You know what I'm saying? I don't know legislation, what you could do as a governor, because we do have a free nation, free religion. So I don't know what we could do legalistically. But ultimately we've got to do that. But one of the biggest things is you need to understand is what you said. They're influenced politically. So one way we got to get rid of it is we got to get rid of PACs. If we get rid of PACs, they quit buying elections, they quit buying votes, they quit buying seats. And that way we get back to these seats being voted in instead of bought in. And a lot of times it's what they're doing. So if you look at these guys' donors, whether it's Muslims or Chinese, they're buying these seats. But legislative, obviously, will fight against mosques and we'll do what we can against them. But constitutionally, obviously, I abide by it.
Caneste, what would you do, if anything, about the growing number of mosques in the community? Would you do anything if you could, and what would that be?
Well, I will check with the, first of all, I will call the U.S. Senate. I will call the Washington, D.C., because they always have a lobby, people lobbyists for them, and who fund them, and who helps them, who's behind it. And then who's, because you might try to fight with something that you don't even know. Sometimes we might try to fight something and people that knew you was against you. So therefore, in government, in that kind of Hamas is big in this country. Because I used to live by them in West Palm Beach, Florida. So before the 9/11, because I've been living here since 1983. So there's a lot of things that I see that I'm experienced about it. So we need to know exactly who's in charge, who's behind it, and even though you're against it, but you need to know exactly who's funding them, who give them the authorization to operate in this country. This is the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay. James, what would you do, if anything, about the growing number of mosques in our community?
Well, before I answer that question, my best friend as a kid growing up in the neighborhood was a Muslim. My best friend was Muslim, but we got along because we never talked about Islam. All right? The thing is, we know it's an invasion. We see what's going on. And the only European countries that are existing, Poland, they only took in 2% Islam. Hungary only took in 2%. Look at poor Stockholm. That was such a beautiful, Sweden 6 million, Finland 4 million, Lithuania 3 million, Estonia 2 million, Latvia 3 million, all these beautiful countries weaponized by invaders coming up and destroying it. This is a fact, gang. They're trying to take us over, but they're coming at us with numbers. Numbers, numbers, numbers. In our society, that's a tough thing to fight. We'd have to fight it, but through education, it's going to be a fight. I got the guts to do it.
So Rachel, would you do anything about the growing number of mosques if you could, or would you not, and what could you do if you decided to?
Based on your question, I think the only thing I could do on that question as governor is lead by example and demonstrate that my God, the living God, is the answer to everything that human beings are concerned about, for our families, for our businesses, our productivity, to protect us, to lead us in faith over fear. That's the main thing I would do as a governor, to demonstrate what it means to have a loving family and children that obey their parents and honor their parents, and parents that love and nurture their children. But when it comes to the concerns about Islam as a political and a legal and judicial system, that's already addressed in our Constitution. It cannot be incompatible with our laws.
So Daniel, what would you do if you could do anything, if you wanted?
Well, being up in Minnesota and the temperature of the basically Minneapolis, it was like the gay capital, second gay capital next to San Francisco. And if we don't understand, like in Iran, 60,000 mosques have closed down. 60,000 mosques have closed. Okay? What we're not being is we're not being the Christian we need to be. We're not being the person that Christ has called us to be. What we can do is we can make it so desirable to be a Christian, but we ourselves have to repent from our legalism, our condemnation. We need to take on Christ. And then, you know what? If all these mosques will go away, if we repent, we have to repent. Minnesota has not repented, and they're getting what comes, and that's tyranny, which the Bible says will happen.
Okay, Jim, what would you do as governor, if anything, to control a growing number of mosques, and how would you do it if you decided to?
The First Amendment says freedom of religion. So I don't think we, as a government, can control mosques. I think that they have a right to exist by our Constitution, our state constitution, and our federal constitution. And I just don't have an answer that would not violate our Constitution.
Okay, so what about you, Arthur? Would you concerned about the growing number of mosques? Would you do anything about it? Could you do anything about it?
Okay, I noticed that everyone here has already mentioned that they're Christian, right? I'm the only one who hasn't said it yet. Anyway, I was born and raised Catholic, and in my early 30s, I just didn't think that I agreed totally to Catholicism. So I was trying to figure out what other religion can I look at and be. And so after maybe a few years of just trying to decide, I couldn't decide, so I just decided I would just be spiritual. But that includes and is 100% Christ. And as far as the Islam mosques, there's not just Christ religions in America, there are others. They should have the right to believe in what they believe, but there are certain laws that even the Muslims cannot do in this country. For example, a man cannot marry 4 wives in the United States. But anyway, I'm Christian.
So now we're going on to the affordability issue, something that touches every single one of us every single day. Now the first question, this will be Caneste. Okay. Lawmakers placed a sweeping constitutional amendment, Amendment 3, on the November 3rd ballot to expand the homestead exemption. Some believe it will strain local services. What do you think, and what would you do to bring homeowners relief if it does not pass?
Well, I think I'll start with property taxes. First of all, people that in Florida, especially in the middle, who lives around Miami, Weld County, and South Beach area, and I live in Delray Beach, Florida. So I think the property taxes and the homeowner is very high. I think we need to reduce. We need to reduce the property taxes, and we need to reduce the tax exempt for the people, because I think people struggle right now because most people have a housing and the insurance cost is very high, and they almost have a double price they have to pay, make a payment every month. So me as a governor, I'm going to reduce the cost of living. I'm gonna reduce the cost of living and the property taxes, and homeowner, I'm gonna reduce that so people can live better, because I feel like Florida is a paradise, so people should live better. No fear, too much fear in Florida.
Okay, James, so just to restate the question quickly, the November 3rd, but they're voting on the homestead exemption. Some are against that because they think it's going to strain local services. Many are for it. What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea? And if it doesn't pass, what would you do to give homeowners relief?
Well, as a politician, sometimes you have to have a little logic and take a step back. What caused all this? When COVID struck, Florida took in all, I'm just going to call them refugees, from New York, from Colorado, from Minnesota. They loved Florida. They swamped in. So all of a sudden, our houses, if it was worth $100,000, it went up to $200,000. $200,000 went up to $400,000. $500,000 went up to $1 million, sticking your chest out. But all of a sudden your taxes went up. All of a sudden your insurance went up. So we got swamped. So what's happening is little by little, we're like in the top of the country right now for foreclosures. Things are dropping dramatically. DeSantis took the leash off because all we had was one insurance carrier. It's up to 17 now. That's dropping by about 10%. So I wouldn't jump to anything. But real quick, as far as you're concerned, Tampa, $400 million in revenue, 110 million would be pulled out of that. So you'd have to figure out, where am I going to get 110 million?
Okay. So Rachel, what do you think of this, the November 3rd ballot? Do you think it's a harmful thing or a good thing? And what would you do if it doesn't pass to help homeowners?
Well, I think the general idea is that we don't want property taxes. Do we actually own our property, or does somebody else and we rent it? That's the question. That's the first principle. So we want to go down to zero if possible. So the question is, how do you backfill the services that the government is providing at local and state levels on that? And I look at this to say, everything that we're going to talk about in affordability needs to be addressed on, is it consuming the people or allowing their productivity to flourish? And so I don't think that as it is right now, we'll be able to reduce the property tax overnight, but I don't think that's what the amendment is doing. It's saying we're going to take the steps necessary and work towards that, but it can't be done in a vacuum. We have to look at waste, fraud, and abuse at the local and state level. I'm going to talk about this more, but there's up to 150 agencies, many of which are licensure boards at the state level. We cut that, we find money to give to the property tax issue.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Daniel, what's your view?
Tax relief, I think we should end all property taxes and the millage, because what the local government can do is raise the millage to get the surplus that is missing. The other thing is we have become so entitled in this country, we're actually leaning towards communism. We think that we are entitled to services. And so, and I put this out before, our country's GDP is 31 trillion. We have 31% tax collection, which is 9.6 trillion. That does not include customs, does not include tariffs, does not include excise taxes, permits, everything that we have to pay, all the tolls, everything else. So I'm against taxes. I'm against it, and we're not going to until we get to the place where each little community starts putting up their own services and quit paying someone else to do it. Schools, everything. We've got to get that entitlement mentality back to an American mentality.
So Jim, what's your opinion?
For a long time, 50 or more years, I paid a mortgage on my property, which is called property tax. So when they suggested they do away with it, I love that idea. Then they did something else that surprised me. They suggested a high homestead exemption, which would take burden off of me, but it would still leave the burden with the wealthy. Now, I don't want to sound like to tax the rich person, because I'm not. One of the things I think we should do to offset that tax benefit is we're all suffering from a tourist tax. We're not paying it, but we're not getting it either. We have all these people coming from up north, from Egypt or wherever, and they're paying tourist tax, but we're not getting the benefit of it, any of it. There's a Alaskan mineral tax where they're getting money, and there's a Social Security benefit called the Galveston Plan, where people are having their own Social Security plan, and we don't get that.
So what do you think, Arthur?
I think a lot, because this is not... Hello. I think a lot about this. It's one of the things I already mentioned. But taxes are important. How's a city, county, or even the state offices going to run? Property taxes are I think in my opinion, are the highest collections that the state makes. Now, I don't want property taxes to be too high. My recollection is DeSantis, he said instead of $50,000, you don't have to pay a tax. He jacked it up to $150,000. But let's see. So anyway, property tax is important, but I would want to lessen it a little bit, but not a lot. The offices need the money. And okay.
So, Bobby, what's your opinion on this issue?
I'm for no property tax for two reasons. Number one, we live in an unaffordable state. Right now, your widows, even low-income families can't even live, support. What gives the government the right to take your greatest inheritance, your greatest wealth accumulation? What gives them a right? Second thing is this. We talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. What changes? Nothing. The only way you're going to get these counties and cities from spending money is pull the property tax away from them. I use this example. If you got a 12-year-old spoiled rotten kid who has access to mommy and daddy's credit card, when will he ever quit spending? Never will. Second thing is they're going to whine and complain, right? And say, well, you ain't going to have a sheriff, you ain't going to have your education system. Our own governor says we have so much money coming in. We have a rainy day fund, a slush fund. Right now we have $19 billion in reserves in the state of Florida. We have enough to take care of it, so quit believing the lies, because it's a waste, fraud, and abuse that's the problem and the issue. So I'm for no property tax.
Okay. Well, this is related, so I'm going to start here with James. So the rising cost of utilities is skyrocketing. What is your plan to reduce household electrical and water costs?
Look, the quick answer is I'd like to make Florida as sovereign as we could possibly be. Why can't we negotiate deals, even with gasoline companies that come into our states? You know, there again about Europe, there's 52 countries in Europe, all right? And we have 24 million people living here. Out of those 52 countries, we would be like number 8 as far as we got to start looking ourselves as a country in our negotiation with deals with electric, with solar, with gasoline. We got to start thinking sovereign, all right? Because there's 50 states, but I don't want to compare us with anybody. I want Florida to be Florida. And that's how I believe it.
So, Rachel, what would you do about the household electrical and water costs?
Well, one thing is hold the companies accountable to actually do the job. If they're going to read meters, then they ought to do that and have the numbers correct. Many, many times they don't even do that. So they're making up numbers. Why should you pay something that's made up? So there needs to be accountability of the companies. I think somebody mentioned earlier, we need to have more competition. That's always an American approach. to high costs. We need to have that. I'd also agree that to the extent we have the ability to have energy within our state, we need to increase that. We also need to encourage those who have the capacity to have alternative energy at a local level that is very local in homes or in businesses. We need to encourage that and lower the regulatory red tape that keeps people from using those options.
Okay, good. So Daniel, what's your view?
Well, I already said before, we need to decentralize the electrical grid. Everybody, I mean, I had a big argument with FPL. They charged me $800 to change out a meter. I called them up and I said, listen, you just bought Gulf Power out of here in Pensacola, and now you want us to pay because you can't pay for it. Okay, we are paying their bills because they can't pay for it, and now they are charging us for all of the solar panels that are going up all over the country, all over there. Why not pay the people to put them on their own house, take them off the grid, and now we don't have power outages because now we have our own power plants in our own home. We can go to battery electricity where you have a perpetual motion machines that goes ahead and charges up batteries, and you can get AC and DC off of that. Pure Water Act criminalize chemical-laden water. And so, anyways, decentralize it all. We need antitrust suits against these people.
So Jim, what's your view? How do we get the prices down?
We're talking.
Mainly water and electricity we're referring to.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to talk too long. I'm not sure how the governor is supposed to fix the electric bills, because I don't believe that it's in the Constitution anything about electricity, but nonetheless, they're private companies. So I don't think, other than turning off your air conditioner, I don't think there's anything people can do to fix their electricity. But the governor's, that's not a governor issue.
So Arthur, what's your view on this issue?
I know that the electric and water utilities have almost doubled, am I correct? Kind of almost doubled. Well, in my case, it has. And so, of course, I don't like that. But what else can we do? A governor probably can take out a private business who's giving all the people in Florida electricity. A governor might be able to do that, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's been increased. The way to bring it down is to bring down the economy. There's one thing that I believe in that a lot of people probably don't, but I do not believe in minimum wage. Minimum wage is what's jacking up the economy. Year after year after year, decade after decade. And if minimum wage was gone, I mean, a loaf of bread would be 12 cents. Oh, stop it, thanks.
Yeah, do you want to make a brief? I was just going to allow Daniel to make a brief comment.
Yeah, a brief comment on what governors can and cannot do. We have the power to introduce, and we have the power to veto, and we have the power to introduce bills that will limit the FPL and different companies that are working. And we can also bring lawsuits like Governor DeSantis brought against Disney. So we can do, there's a lot we can do. As far as FPL is concerned, they use smart meters. I've done my study on that. Those things are just ridiculous. We need to go back to, everybody needs to go back to the regular meters because it's charging way more because it's taking out, just being in construction. What it does is it measures everything. This any way that's going, it is measuring, it's doubling all of our electricity. We need to go back where they have to actually see the meter. The smart meters, it's 5G. They don't have to do anything.
first, then Caneste. Bobby, what would, no, Bobby first, sorry. Yep. Lord help us.
There's two things the governor can do. Number one is obviously we got to quit buying votes, all these PACs, all these donors donating to these campaigns. That's number one we need to stop and fix. But the biggest thing the governor can do, none of these guys are talking about it, is I, as a governor, appoint the utility commission.
Yes.
And every time these utility companies go get a raise, the utility commission says yes. Why? Because these donors are donating to the governor and the governor's campaigns. There are things we as governor can do to make these decisions to make them say no. So thank y'all.
Yeah, I think the governor, as a governor, when I'm the governor in Florida, this is what I should do. I'm going to supervise the reader. The machine needs to be reader, because I have so many people in my area complain about the high level, how much they pay the bills, water and electricity, and all. That's ridiculous. I think we need to have the county commissioner have people out there to speak to the city commissioner to have a problem, the people that will have a problem with the reader machine about electricity. And also too, if you home, you don't use the electricity, turn it off. And if when you use it again, you turn it on too. That's help too. But the thing is, the company, we need to have more company as a competitive to FPL, to other company in this in the state of Florida. I think we need more company, not only the solar panel, but we need to have different type of other company to competition. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to talk about mandates now and health, vaccines, etc. Now, as a preamble, should you, this is a general question, should you win the primary on August 18th, the Democrat who would likely win would be David Jolly, who has said the first thing he would do would be to get rid of Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo. Okay, first thing. So here's the question, starting with Rachel. What policies do you believe Dr. Joseph Ladapo has got right or wrong?
First of all, this is why I'm here in this race, is to support the work that DeSantis and Ladapo have done, because I was doing that. We were part of the grassroots that said in 2020 and particularly in 2021, the legislature is going in the wrong direction. Renner voted in favor of keeping all of you from being able to get redress in the courts, and then extended that, as did DeSantis in 2022, even though we shut down the mandates in November 2021. It was my lawsuit with the firefighters in Orange County that DeSantis entered as an amicus, the state of Florida, to say we support the plaintiffs against this mandate coming down. So this is an existential fight in Florida, and we can't let up the gas pedal on this. So obviously, as governor, I would support Dr. Ladapo. I'd work with him to do even more, to speak even more boldly with regard to the medical freedoms for all Floridians.
So Daniel, do you believe Dr. Ladapo has got things right or wrong?
I think he got it right. I actually, before Governor DeSantis stopped the mandates, I wrote to my Congressman Mike Hill in Pensacola, because I'd seen Event 201. Anybody watch Event 201? Yeah, that was they were planning with Bill Gates Foundation and Johns Hopkins University. That all this already planned, all their news releases, everything was already done. And I sent a note to my congressman. I said, has DeSantis seen this? No, he hasn't. So when he saw that, it was right after that things started happening with him, because they didn't know that this was already planned and that Bill Gates needs to go to jail. So does Anthony Fauci. I put out a citizen's arrest against Anthony Fauci way back in the day, and if I ever see the man, I will wrestle him to the ground. All of his dissertations on the Spanish flu, he said in his dissertation, I've got it in my computer, the mask is what kept the Spanish flu going, and he said you have to wear masks. So liars.
Yes.
I'm a little bit upset about that.
So, Jim, what do you think Dr. Ladapo has got right and wrong?
Well, I was a fireman for almost 30 years, and we did not wear masks. We put the mask on the sick person, and that would be a good start. There's Dr. Robert Young. He's a scientist that does the electrons. He did this list of all the things that were in 4 of the vaccines. I brought probably enough for everybody to have a copy of this if they want, but the things that you put in your bodies when you took this vaccine was not good. There's also, I have a copy of this Nuremberg Code.
Right.
This says you cannot, I'll read it exactly. The voluntary consent of human subjects is absolutely essential. The Nuremberg Code says they can't put stuff in us without our approval. I have several friends who have died because they got COVID vaccines, and I have a friend who's been in heart issues for 4 years because he took the vaccine.
Thank you. So, Arthur, what do you think? Do you think Dr. Ladapo has got things right or wrong?
I don't know who Dr. Lobato is, but
Well, he's the senior health official in the state. He's very much for medical freedom, generally.
well, health means a lot to me, and it is part of the things on my list. And there's certain things that are good and certain things that I don't think should be happening, like doctors giving prescriptions to people for the rest of their entire life. Maybe 1% have to have that, but I think doctors are doing that just to make more money. Anyway, I don't know about this doctors.
So, Bobby, what's your opinion on what Dr. Ladapo has done? Ladapo.
Are we supposed to answer your question or just beat around the bush? Anybody got an answer to that one? I'm just asking for a friend. I agree with him 100%, and my life says that. I didn't COVID, I didn't mask, I didn't shut down, I didn't do it. We have to have medical freedom. I believe in the blood of Jesus. You know, that prevails everything. So we got to quit having the government tell us what we do. They keep doing mandates, they keep doing everything, they keep forcing us to do something. That's the reason why we got to get back to we the people, get truly godly character people in these seats so we can have total freedom, not just medical freedom, but all our freedoms.
Yeah, I want to say that thank you to Governor DeSantis. He left the Florida's open during that COVID. He did a good job. Not only bring some business, he bring business here. He bring more attractive people who want to come to Florida, have a vacation, and people love Florida for vacation because Florida is a paradise. When doing the COVID, my daughter, she's a pediatric surgeon from Duke University. She said, "Daddy, do not take that. Don't take the shot. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's no good because that's a poison." So I spoke to a lot of people about it, and then I did put some mask on my face for a week, and after a week, I don't use the mask anymore. I think Dr. Fashion, whatever his name is, I think he needs to go to jail. That's what I'm concerned.
Yeah, Dr. Fauci. Yeah. Okay, James, what's your view?
I love the doctor. I knew nothing about the gentleman, but I was watching national TV. I saw the guy on. I said, "Who is this guy? He's absolutely fantastic." All right. As far as myself goes, it was almost it was like a spiritual thing. The Lord said, "Don't take that vaccine." I didn't take it. My wife didn't take it. My 8 children did not take it. My in-laws didn't take it, nor 24 of my grandchildren. None of us taking it. We're perfect.
Thank you. Well, now we're going on to the last question. It's related. The COVID vaccine was mandated by many businesses and the military. Here in Florida, some were fired or lost their businesses. Did you I'm going to start with Daniel here. Did you personally receive the COVID vaccine, and what are your thoughts on vaccines going forward?
I did not take the stab. Okay, I call it the kill stab. Okay, I did not take that, would not, nor did my family. I don't know about my extended family, what they did. But as far as vaccines, I've done enough study on it. No, I have 6 children from 11 down to 4. I delivered my last 3 children. Now they said that Mrs. Biden was a doctor, and then, okay, but what was it? The Wall Street Journal said you can only be called a doctor if you've delivered a baby, so I don't know if you can call me doctor or not. I like to kind of call myself doctor, but anyways, no vaccines. We did not vaccinate any of our children. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
So Jim, did you get the shot, and what's your view of vaccines?
My sister told me that there was a lot of bad in the shot, and I believed her, and I never took the shot. There was a doctor in New York. His name is Zelenko. He's credited with saving 43 or 47,000 lives. And he gave them zinc, vitamin D, and Curistin. Curistin is non-prescription, and they actually had Curistin on the MASH television show to cure malaria. So it's been around since the Korean War, and it's non-prescription, and if people took that, they'd probably never get flu or any of the other related diseases.
So Arthur, did you get the shot, and what's your view of vaccines going forward?
No, I never got the shot, and I never wanted it. I had a family, and I wanted to protect them and myself. I may have, the masks, I may have worn that for a week or something, but I didn't like it. Anyway, what's the point about this?
There's a lot of mandates, for instance, in Florida schools. Kids have got to get vaccinated. Would you, for instance, support that continuing or discontinuing?
No, I do not. I do not agree with doctors giving kids or even adults medications just to stop a possible other thing. No, just live your life, healthy, and you won't need those vaccinations. Sorry that you...
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, Bobby, what's your view here?
No and no.
Caneste, did you take the shot, and what about vaccines going forward?
No, I didn't take it. I've been taking a leaf medicine because where I grew up, we believe in leaf medicine. We don't believe in those kind of stuff. No. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, leaves medicine, yes, that's right.
Herbal medicine. Yeah. So James, what about you?
I'm not even going to stand up for this one. No mandates, no shots, no masks.
So Rachel, are you the only one here who took the shot?
Absolutely not.
Good.
But I want to make clear that we need to fight both for those who lost their jobs and their livelihoods, which I have in court against Disney, all the way to the Supreme Court, against Amgen, against the Washington Nationals Baseball Club. I sued all of them, Morgan & Morgan. I did that, but I also support those who were injured by the vaccine. We cannot divide as a people over this. We need to hold those accountable in the COVID criminal enterprise who are responsible. And to that end, I have sought in 7 states, and I started right here in Florida with a brief petitioning our attorneys general and district attorneys to open criminal investigations and, if probable cause, to prosecute, to indict and prosecute. And we opened 2 criminal investigations in Texas and in Arizona, and we're not letting up. It is on James Uthmeyer's desk. I believe he's looking into it, and I hope to hear from him soon.
Thank you very much to all the panelists. Now we're going to give all of you 2 minutes each. And I'm going to start with Jim. You give 2 minutes, your closing statement to the audience. This will be very strictly enforced.
I believe that I'm the best qualified person to be your governor. Now, there might be a few people up here that might think otherwise, but they're wrong.
So what about you, Arthur? You've got 2 minutes now.
Okay, so yes, I want to run for governor. I am. I want to become governor. And the reason I can tell you, it's to help the people. I don't know if you saw my sign out there. I really, I care about the state offices. Those are very important. So those needed to be helped as well. But the people are more important, and they need to be helped. And all I'm going to do, whatever laws, whatever things we do, is going to be to help the people. And that's it.
So Bobby, well, your 2 minutes worth.
Obviously, there's 2 things that solve our economy, our state, everything. Number 1 is godly character. Godly character is going to fix 95% of our problems, because waste, fraud, abuse, backdoor deals, money laundering, all the stuff that's going on. If you have true godly character, you're not going to be bought, you're not going to be paid for. I have the character to show that. Number 2 is common sense. It's that simple, that easy, because there's a lot of issues and a lot of problems in this state that needs to be fixed, and you need somebody who's going to fight for you. So we got to get back to we the people instead of we the lobbyists and we the big corporations. So obviously for me, like I said before, I've been doing this for the last 10 years. A lot of these guys, when I become governor or gals, when I become governor, I'm going to do this. I've been fighting for our state for the last 10 years. I'm on our EOC, I've done hurricane disaster relief. Our own governor said this: you don't even know who our governor is till a hurricane shows up. I've showed up for every hurricane. I stay before the cameras and I stay after cameras, and I'm here to fight for the people. Thank y'all. God bless.
Okay, Caneste, your closing statement.
Yeah, I'm asking you a favor to elect Caneste Succe for the next governor of Florida, so we can change the Florida to become a paradise and a state for people to live with no fear. Because we have so much problems, we're in trouble that in Florida. Cost of living, the gas price, and the economy, and the job. We need to bring more job industrial here, and we can bring more people here because Florida is very attractive, and we need more visitors here because the cost of living is not good. It's not good, and I think that we need to bring more money here for the state of Florida. Thank you.
So James, your closing thoughts.
My name is James W. Shaw, Shaw for governor. I want to protect you. As I said before, I have about 42 people in my immediate family. I was a boss. I was in charge of 550 people. I've owned my own companies where I've signed thousands of checks, so I know what businesses are. I know how to delegate and negotiate. I know how to listen. To be a good leader, you have to be a listener. You never learn anything by speaking. And I just want to give one example what happened, which was very treacherous. 20 million people crossed our border during Biden's regime. 20 million, probably either pregnant, impregnated, or going to be pregnant. The Senate, nobody from the Senate took care of us. Nobody from the Congress took care of us. None of the governors took care of us. I will protect you. Thank you. James W. Shaw for governor.
Thank you. Rachel, your turn.
Rachel Rodriguez for Florida's next governor. And one of the reasons that I'm running, and I understand what the threats are from outside the state, from within the state, I can see them because my mother was a refugee from Cuba. This is not something that's out there that's a hypothetical to me. My husband's from Cuba in 2009. The Bible says to go and be fishers of men, so I went and I fished him. But because of this, I understand, I can see what tyranny looks like. When this all happened, my husband said, I know what this is. You've got the skills, you've got to fight this. And so that's why I'm here. And as I get into Tallahassee, some of the first things I'm going to do is make an executive order to pull all mRNA shots off the market. I've made a pledge to do that. And the courts can fight it if they want, but that's what we're going to do because it kills people. And that's not just COVID. Another thing we need to do is I'm going to make all of the executive agencies, there's, I don't know, maybe 130 to 150. Our Constitution actually limits, there's a bar for executive agencies of 25 only to do the work of the executive. And along with the excluded ones in the Constitution, but that's where the catch-all comes in. So I'm going to ask all of these 80 to 100 agencies that are doing all of these things, these commissions, to tell me in 5 pages or less what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they need that many employees, and we're going to review that. That's one way I'm going to draw down the government and give it back to the people, also in the Florida Constitution. And finally, I want to exemplify as a governor what it means to live in faith and not in fear. That's what we have been doing as a family, and I want to demonstrate that. I want to walk out in front and say, we can do this. The people have the power, the political power, and the moral agency to stand up to evil. Do it with me.
Last one to you.
Last but not least, Johnny come lately, I was the last guy in the party to throw my hat in, and that was because my son was in Minnesota and he was in the hospital, so we couldn't get back here, couldn't fly him back. But I'm here now, and if you'll see my card here, you can take a look. My scripture that God gave me is 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways, and pray, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. Our land needs healing, but it starts with us. You know, leadership is just an invitation for other people to follow. If you like where I'm going with this, my first act as as the governor of the United States, no, as the governor of Florida would be to invite all of the leaders, political, sheriffs, pastors, fathers, mothers, teachers, to come and repent. Let's turn back to God. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And so really, I have 20 or 30 initiatives I'd like to do, but if we don't get back to God, God can't help us. We need His help to get this country back on track. And let's start with Florida. All the eyes of the nation are on Florida. Let's show the rest of the United States what it means to come and return back to God. And that is my mission.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
very good. So
Thank you very much, everybody.
I want to move on to question and answer period, right? And we do have a couple of questions here. Number one is for you, Bobby. Do you believe if someone's on disability or at full retirement age, they should be able to be free from property taxes?
Well, I believe yes, but I believe everybody should be free from property tax. 100%.
Yeah, good, okay, I think you kind of answered
Yeah, I
that
answered
too
that earlier,
earlier,
yes.
yeah. This question is directed to each one of you. What are each of you going to do to not lose any of the policies that Governor DeSantis has put in place? How are you going to enhance this proven agenda going forward? Bobby, I guess we can start with you so that it just, yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I want to keep improving, but obviously there's a lot more improvement. You know what I'm saying? We got developers destroying Florida. Our waterways are being destroyed. Our utility companies are raping and pillaging. Our water utilities are increasing like crazy. It's the reason why we got to replace all the boards. From utility commission, insurance commission, all the way to our water utilities. All this stuff has happened on DeSantis' watch. So we have to replace all these guys that's going to fight for you, we the people. It's something that has to be done. Because they'll tell you, everybody talks about even insurance reform, insurance this. They talk about we need a greater market, we need more people in here. Well, if you know anything about New York City just don't create different companies. It's a bunch of companies under one company. They just bring 10 more companies in here and act like they're doing you a favor. And the utility commission is doing nothing about that. They're not looking at it, there's no accountability, there's no nothing, because they're all bought and paid for. So for me, it's replace continue the good things he's done, but let's fix a lot of things, like even our lower education, K through 12, all this stuff that we know the issues, and fix them.
Yeah, my name is Caneste Succe, and I'm asking everyone, please, to vote for me for August 18. So in Florida, this is the best state. That's the third largest state in the country. So what we need to do is everything that the Governor DeSantis does. I really love what he does. Only thing I don't do, to be honest with you, I don't like what he did with with alligator, what he put in the prison, on the prison. I don't like that. And also, we need to have an immigration reform. Because I'm an immigrant. We need to close the border. But the people that we have here, we need to legalize them, because most of them still make money. Because most of them, even though they don't have a paperwork, but they still have money, they still work. So we need to legalize them, make sure they pay their taxes, and so they can stay in this country. They don't need to go home, but I will keep them here in the state of Florida. And plus, to continue the work.
Okay, your time is up. I'm sorry, Succe, your time is up. Thank you.
DeSantis set a foundation, but I'm really concerned about the future. I think things are going to change immediately. Put your seatbelt on. I mean, Trump's going to be gone. We know what's going on in Iran. Just recently, the Hormuz in the south has been closed. Now Yemen is closed on the north. I don't know if anybody knows this. Oil's getting choked out. Venezuela only put out 1 million a day. Saudi Arabia was putting out 6 million a day, and they've gone down to nothing. We are in dire straits, and we need a leader to make sure Florida is sovereign. This state is 1,350 miles of peninsula. All right? I'm a logistics expert. We better watch it as far as what's taking place. We better not be arrogant on the world stage. China, Taiwan, Ukraine and Russia, NATO. We got the whole Middle East blowing up. All right? We're going to have to worry about what's happening in the future. We need a governor who's a leader, has some guts and a foresight to see what's going on in the whole world. Thank you.
One of the things I really applaud Governor DeSantis on is, as I said, in 2020 and 2021, he led the way, but it was because the people, the grassroots, told him, hey, we need to reverse course, and he listened. And that is one of the things I will absolutely do as governor, because I would sit in Tallahassee by consent of the governed. And so that is a really important thing, but there is more to do. One of the really critical things I've found is that the Department of Children and Families is in dire straits. Unfortunately, our officials, and I just asked this of a judicial nominee, where do the rights for parents and the responsibilities to their children come from? And she answered, and she's running for a judgeship, she answered from the Constitution. She did not know it comes from God, and the constitutions merely indicate that. So the DCF needs to be reformed. There are abuses there. There needs to be a strong hand to take that in hand, and we need to be very careful about medical freedom. That is an ongoing issue. We need accountability.
Okay, Daniel.
Question again, please. Question. Hold on.
What would you do
Don't
to
start the
continue?
time yet.
What would you do to continue the legacy of Governor DeSantis? What would you do to preserve what he's done and improve upon it?
Thank you. What I would do, first of all, I need to assess everything that he's done. I don't know all that he has done. I couldn't tell you what needs to be preserved, what needs to be nixed, and what needs to go forward. I can't because I haven't seen that, but there's so much good that he has done. I would say what I have seen and what I have heard, those things I think need to continue on. But we also have to assess, is there anything we can do to help the people out? And yes, there is. And there's so much we can do. One of the things we got to stop in this state, number 3 in the nation, which Chris Gleason mentioned, was we're the number 3 state in trafficking, human trafficking. I would refocus the state patrol from trafficking, controlling traffic to controlling human sex trafficking. That's what I would do with that.
Okay, so Jim, what would you do?
Well, I've been told a lot that if something isn't broken, I should not fix it. So the good things that Governor DeSantis has done, I will absolutely support. But there's one issue that I'm here because Article 4, Section 1, the governor shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. And that has not happened to the best of my knowledge. The courts aren't doing whatever they want to. The appeal courts won't stand up to them. The code of judicial conduct is never being followed. And I think that needs to be fixed.
Okay, so Arthur, what would you do to preserve the legacy?
Well, I've always liked Governor DeSantis, and maybe the next term he might run again, or president. Anyway, I do like Governor DeSantis, and he was doing the property tax thing, and I emailed him, and I gave him a description of how I would do it. And we didn't get further. So he was dealing with the House and Senate, and they were disagreeing with him on what he wanted. But unfortunately, I couldn't describe every single way I want to do it, because who's going to take my ideas? So, but I can definitely tell you the best things. Yep.
Okay, hello? Okay. We have one more question here, and this is a yes or no question, okay? So we're going to run through it pretty quick. Starting with Bobby. Will you push the bill passed by our governor, Ron DeSantis, to allow Christian chaplains to be involved in school education?
Yes.
Caneste?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely yes.
Of course.
I'd like to see the bill before I answer.
Yes or no? Okay.
Not without knowing what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
Okay, that's fair enough. Go ahead.
Is this just in a Christian school or any school?
It says to allow Christian chaplains to be involved in school education. That's the question.
And those are little
Yes
kids?
or no?
A
Yes or
chaplain
no?
or little kids?
Okay, wonderful. Folks, I cannot say enough about these brave candidates for stepping up. They really do deserve our appreciation. And we're going to be watching now a video for those who weren't here earlier, Paul Renner could not be here, but he was the only candidate, other than these folks all confirmed straight away. Paul Renner told us right up front that there wasn't a way that he would be able to be here. And knowing the background story, I understood that. We had a decision to make. We thought you might, when he offered to do a video just for this debate event, we thought it would be only fair if you were going to hear it, right? So, Hotai, you got it going? Wonderful, thank you. Let's watch what Mr. Paul Renner has to say.
Well, it's great to join you by video, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. For those that don't know me, I think every candidate should answer two why questions. Why are you running? And in my case, I helped build the free state of Florida, and I don't want to go back and retreat. And secondly, why me and not the other candidates? Very quickly, before we get to our topics, you want a proven leader who's been battle tested. I spent 20 years in the military in 2 wars. I was a former state prosecutor trying habitual and violent habitual offenders. I've started a business, been a partner in a business, and of course, led the Florida House as Speaker, managing about 500 employees. You also want someone who's delivered results, and the governor said those 2 years I led were unmatched, that we got more done for the conservative cause in those 2 years than any other legislature in history. But you know what? We're a victim of our own success today. That's why costs are going through the roof. People can't afford to live here anymore because of the cost of insurance and electric rates. And so affordability will be my day one priority. I have announced in writing my pledge to make sure we make Florida more affordable again. That's in my contract with Florida on voterenner.com. And what are we going to do? Day one, that means right after inaugural, we're going to get after property taxes. I'm the only candidate with a plan to eliminate homestead property taxes, give help to small businesses and renters. We will do that while also reducing insurance costs by 10 to 20% and lowering electric rates. We will not allow utilities simply to get rich based on how much they spend. They'll do well when you do well. No more solar fields. We're going to make sure they deliver the lowest possible cost to your doorstep. In the meantime, we're going to stop things like hyperscale data centers from coming into our state to drive up electric costs and damage our environment. So in that first special session, right after inaugural, as part of affordability, we're going to put a full moratorium on hyperscale data centers in this state, much as other counties have done. We have to be concerned not just about the electric rates, but the damage to our aquifer, as well as the environmental harm. The noise, the tonal noise that can damage our people and our environment. Number 2, we're going to keep Florida safe and make sure we're going after the death penalty and human trafficking. We're also going to make sure that we continue to lead in educational freedom. That means no mandates. We're going to have parental rights, informed consent, making sure parents determine what goes into children's bodies and how they're counseled when it comes to mental health. That's a parent's role, not a school's role. And when it comes to keeping Florida free, number 1 on the list, election integrity. Yes. We can't have a republic unless we have confidence in our voting system. I was proud to sign the Defend Florida Pledge, and we will get after this issue. It's part of my contract with Florida the first 100 days to make sure that we have Florida as the gold standard for the nation and the world for free and fair elections. And separately, as we lean into keeping Florida free, we have to push back against the threats, including the red threat of China and the green threat of Islam. You know, I spent 20 years in the military in 2 wars, and they told us we have to fight them abroad so we don't have to fight them here at home, and then we just let them in. Look at Minnesota. Look at what happens every few weeks when someone's murdered, and they downplay where it came from. I understand, because they've told us that they're not compatible with our system, that Islam is not compatible with a constitutional republic and the American way of life. And we have to be honest and steely-eyed about that. I will encourage the federal government to stop immigration from those countries permanently, to denationalize and deport those that commit crimes in our country. And separately, as governor, I will not allow for education dollars to go to teach Sharia law. I will not allow slaughterhouses that violate our health codes, and I will never, ever allow for enclaves like we see in Europe, where boys and girls who grew up for 20 or 30 years in a neighborhood can no longer walk through that neighborhood because they're afraid to walk there. And if they get attacked, the police won't come because they're afraid to come as well. That can never and will never take hold when I'm governor of Florida. And we will make sure to push back against CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood as the terrorist organizations that they are. Those are the 5 topics you have on today's agenda, and I am proud to say that they're all part of my first 100 days in the contract with Florida, which you can see at voterenner.com, and we will get after each and every one of these important topics right out of the gate. I want to say God bless you for listening. I appreciate you allowing me to speak by video. It's time we continue to keep the free state of Florida free, and you need a leader who will lean into the fight. And I always have, and I always will. God bless you.
Okay, and true to his word, Mr. Renner has called in, so let's hear some questions, answers from the audience here for him. Yes. Okay. Now, we couldn't figure out how to zoom him in, okay, so I'm going to hold the microphone up to the phone. Are you still with us? Okay. So the first question was, what are your feelings about crypto? What would you do as governor regarding that?
Stay. What I would be opposed to is any form of digital currency that can be, programmed or can control our spending habits. And so from that standpoint, I would be opposed to, and I did oppose when I was Speaker, we would put in legislation to stop the central bank digital currency concept. That kind of thing I would be very strongly opposed to, but if somebody wants to buy Bitcoin and buy something with it, that's fine by me. What I object to is when the government then has a role in it to say that you can only buy things through digital currency. You can't use cash. You can't use other forms of gold, silver, other forms of currency. I would be opposed to. But buying Bitcoin and buying things through Bitcoin is perfectly fine. But it's the programmable stuff that frightens me.
Okay, that answer your question. Okay, Kurt, you have a question.
Yes. Hey, Paul, Kurt Christensen, you're Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Army, retired. You have your property tax program. Can you expound upon that? And also, the counties are fighting back tremendously. Even Hillsborough down $685 million in fraud, waste, and abuse, and they don't want to even admit it. So how are you going to force the counties to get in line to make property tax go away as a reality? Thank you.
Yeah, so one of the problems with what's on the ballot is we don't have any guardrails, and so what I think is going to happen is that the cities and counties are just going to replace one tax we don't like with 20 taxes we don't like. So, and it's part of my property tax proposal as well as my affordability plan that was announced very early on, is that you've got to put guardrails around local government. They need a supermajority vote for any new tax or fee or an existing tax or fee increase. And I think there needs to be a referendum as well, I called for at the next election, so the voters can just say, no, we're not doing that. I think that needs to be done with the people's input before it becomes effective, and then keep them capped. So there would be an assessment cap that would not ever go above population plus inflation growth, which right now, if you look at it, has gone up substantially faster, 2, 3, 4 times, maybe more, than how our incomes have risen. And so that's the basic problem here, is that it has dramatically increased far, far faster than our incomes, and government should never grow faster than our incomes. Now, on the proposal itself, I eliminate homestead property taxes. We go, it's bolder than even what the governor had proposed. It's certainly more than what's on the ballot now, to $1 million homestead exemption. So that's 95% of people. So if your assessed value is less than $1 million, no taxes.
Okay, Mr. Renner, I've got timers here that are holding up the thumbs up. We've got like 2 weeks. How much does he have per question? 1 minute per question. So we have another question here for you. No problem. You weren't here for when the rules of the debate were read, so you're forgiven. Hang on for another question here.
Hillsborough County, as you likely know, is ranked #1 in human trafficking reporting. My question to you, Mr. Renner, is what have you done to eradicate human trafficking within the state of Florida?
Well, thank you for the question on human trafficking, and you can certainly look this up on Google and whatnot. The answer is a lot, and I don't have time in a minute to talk about it, but we did quite a lot legislatively in terms of the requirements for higher penalties if you traffic someone. We raised the age in which you can work in an adult, like an adult nightclub kind of deal. A lot of different things, a lot of funding. I had significant funding for FDLE that helped in part to lead a lot of arrests that have happened since then, if you've been following the Attorney General. And I also have a plan. That plan has increased funding to both investigators and victims, as well as different penalties. Right now, if you're 12 or under, you can get the death penalty. I think it should be any minor that gets trafficked should get the death penalty. The trafficker, that is. And so we will get after that very significantly. It's also part of my first 100-day agenda.
Wonderful. Good on the timing, too. So now we have one more question here, and then we'll let you go.
Hi, thanks for your time. I just have a quick question with people pretty much throughout the entire country being against data centers. I just had a quick question. I saw looks like a page on Nelson Mullins. Looks like you're part of General Counsel, and there's a statement here saying that the Nelson Mullins law firm helps with industrial knowledge and multidisciplinary legal experience to seamlessly navigate complex transactions from start to finish involving data centers. So are you still General Counsel for them, or do you still push that?
Yeah, I don't get involved with data centers. We've got 100 data centers, but I've been very, very clear, and I think the first one to come out for a full statewide ban on data centers. That's also not part of 100 days. That's the very first day after inaugural on affordability. I want a special session on affordability and a statewide ban on the construction of hyperscale data centers. As you know, we don't have any in Florida yet, but they're trying very hard to bring them in. The firm that I'm with currently is, almost 1,000 lawyers strong, and so I'm not involved in that. I'm a business litigator, but not someone that does work to build data centers.
Okay, just to clarify, we have some people here who believe there are 7 data centers already in the state, but to your knowledge, they are not?
I didn't hear all of that, but to my knowledge, there's about 100 data centers. If you're talking about things that hold your family photos and that type of thing, there's not a single hyperscale data center, and the difference is total apples and oranges. We're talking about 50 Amazon warehouses stacked side by side, massively bigger and very damaging to our aquifer, damaging to our electric grid. They will drive up electricity costs and have significant concerns environmentally as well. And so for that reason, I want a full halt on all construction statewide.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Renner, calling in from the Panhandle. We wish you a safe trip back to wherever you're going.
An event coming up here in a few minutes that was scheduled months ago. That's why I couldn't join you.
Yeah, we're well aware. Well, be safe up there. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay, so that completes our debate session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget, we have the straw poll out there. We'd really like to get an idea of where you're voting. And also, it took a lot of time and energy from the volunteers who put this together.